Watch how you talking to me. Watch how you talking to me. Watch how you talking to me. Watch how you talking. Watch how you talking to me. Watch how you talking to me. Watch how you talking to me. Watch how you talking. Have you ever seen snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Fall in the six. Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Fall in the six. Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? If I knew back then what I knew right now, I'd be on right now. I'm the nigga right now. I'm the nigga right now. Got your bitch right now. Since you want it right now, getting litty right now. Wanna take me right now, outside right now. Please do not get in my face. You know that I'm riding no whip. I just needed my space. I drink it straight with no chase. Love when you making that face. Living out of suitcase. Annie, are you okay? I fuck you good the long way. Watch how you talking to me. 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 Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six?
She's a keeper, legs like Serena, strong like Xena, turn into a screamer. She's a dancer, money from Atlanta. She's a cancer, phone ring, no answer. I'm getting litty, mixed dirty with the fenna. My life a movie, I always got a camera. I'm at Cabana, she's sucking my banana. Ooh, na-na. If we never met, I'm there right now.
Yo, welcome back.
My hair right now. Yeah, I'm living off of moonlight. Talking but you don't fight. About a new life. Even when I'm wrong, you know I'm still right. On another level, reach a new height. I used to hit the block just in all white. No, I can't bless you, but my gun might. Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Fall in the six. Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six? Fall in the six. Yeah, I'm living off of moonlight. Have you ever seen the snowfall in the six?
All right. I have a suspicion the princess will come across Urek'S fight with Danzan and learn how strong he actually is. No, I'm gonna read it after this stream. Give me 1 second. Let me just close the blind behind me because it's shining in a weird way, I feel. Now, let's hop into this. First and foremost, I need my little GIF on the side. Let's get the king of the tower this time. I think I've been using Bam a lot recently. Let's get Zahard. Let's put him right here, right over there in the corner. Doing a little blast. And I need my Tower of God insignia. I need the logo. The logo, which I put in which folder? YouTube. There we go. I forgot to put that up there. But yeah, no, I'm gonna read it after. I promise. That's my bad. I just remembered. I had it open for a while, but anyways. Greetings and salutations. I hope everyone's having themselves a mighty fine day. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell of dawn so the ghost of the 13-month series doesn't get you and you can stay notified. Yes, Chief, we are back. We are back. So, We just completed a live reaction and a little discussion about Urek Mazino's Ascent Chapter 11, which I thought was a cool chapter. Nothing particularly insane or crazy. I'm still shocked at the fact that we are slowing down the pace here. I really thought this would be a quickly paced side story or spin-off, because I just didn't think that SIU was going to put that much time, effort, and detail into this, because he's supposed to kind of be on a break, you know what I mean? So I thought, I keep saying this, but I'll say it like one last time, then maybe I'll put it in one video and leave it there. But I really thought what we were going to do was maybe establish some stuff in the beginning, and then once he became a regular, or even with this part, I thought we'd probably skip a lot of these tests, because I thought Urek Mazino would be strong enough to kind of just deal with all this and move on. For all the times that we've seen him in the main story, we'd plant seeds and seedlings for when he circles back, when we see him. So something on the 20th floor would happen with maybe him and the Yeon family and learning about the Zagania, the creatures and whatnot. And then he spins the block to save it later, finding out there's two, letting them keep one, and that's when he runs into those rankers. Then we'd get his initial meeting with Hell Joe, the whole repairman from the floor of death, the 43rd floor. And maybe when he gives him the red Theresa, maybe he does that when he meets him the second time or something. I can't exactly remember the flashback itself, but I thought we'd plan that. Obviously, when he's in the hidden floor and he meets the God of Guardians, and Guardians have nothing to teach him, doesn't learn Revolution, and he has like the error data form of himself inside of the hidden floor. We do that, and then like Ari Han's test and like the Wolhike Sung stuff when he meets Bayak Ryun for the first time, and then the whole ordeal with the shrinking the forest happens, and then they create that connection. So, and I guess I thought a lot of the people and cast that we'd meet along the way would be future Wolhike Sung members, or at least people who are very who are like affiliated and allied with Wolhike Sung. Like, it could be like, hey, yo, Urek, you're my boy. I'm not joining the organization, but you'll see me on floor 77 every once in a while. We'll share a drink and hang out and do something. I thought it'd be more akin to that. So, yeah. Damn, I've missed 3 weeks of chapter. Stream's been a lot earlier, I see. I'm not even caught up, but hello. I have the time. That's why I've been doing them kind of as soon as I like wake up, finish my workout, and I've been doing them early. I do still want to kind of do most of them around 2 p.m. if I can, like 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I also realize that a lot of my audience, I know specifically for Kubera, but like a Tower God too, a lot of you guys are from Europe. So the time difference thing kind of works a little bit when I'm a little earlier than when I am later. I find for something like One Piece, with a lot of North American audiences, if I stream later at night, like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's totally fine. But yeah, I just want to see Urek meeting Garam. That too, that first initial, even Yuri, like how they meet Yuri, when maybe Evan too, like that kind of stuff. Like I definitely want to see all of those interactions and moments, and maybe the first time he meets Gus Dang. I don't think he met Traumaray before. It seemed to me, from what I can recall, when he saw Traumaray, that was the first time he's really seen him, meaning he hasn't seen all the family members. And I still wonder if in some way, shape, or form he met Zahard, or met him in passing, or saw him from afar or something. But yeah, there's all of those things. So this chapter was building up to the crown game and then beginning the crown game. And what I find pretty cool about it is that the crown game for this iteration seems to be combined with the last examination. I'm looking at the area and the environment that they're in, and they were talking about how a lot of these creatures live in symbiosis and together in tandem in this environment, in this ecosystem, but also a lot of them are preys and predators, apex predators. So I'm thinking, depending on which area you come in from, you're going to see a majority of this creature, the bulls, those weird wiggling worms up and under. Over here are the net dolphins, you know what I'm saying? So we've seen the bull that like Anak and Dorsey end up like running into, like the creature, the species, the being, that we saw in the last examination. Lopobia Evelyn runs into it, so I found that to be pretty fascinating. Yeah, I'm UK and I'm usually free around now. I'll try to see if I can make it to future streams. Yes. I could. I still need to start more posting more often on YouTube. My what's it called? Connections. What's that page called? Where you put the posts. I gotta use that more often for when I'm gonna stream and going live. But for the time being, because I have the time, I'm gonna be doing them a little bit earlier than I usually do them. So probably, I think I started the other stream around 11 or like noon Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, if Yuri doesn't appear, the spinoff will never be 10 out of 10. I feel you. Do you think the side story will end with Phantom's raid at Jihad's castle? No, I don't. I think it'll end with Arihan's test and him becoming a high ranker or something, or maybe him like walking into the Wallhike Sung base, something cool like that. Him and Bayak Ryun. I don't know, something like that. I'm not entirely sure if this is gonna happen. This has already happened. Will happen mid climb or after the fact. Even if Urek hasn't met the real deal, he should have at least met data version of Zahard, right? If he was in the hidden floor after all. I wonder, yeah. That would make sense. But, no, that's not how it works. Is that how it works? Do you forget about the hidden floor? Or is it, no, it's that once you were on the hidden floor, you're not allowed to talk about it. I think that's what it was. You can't talk about it anymore once you leave. I don't think it deletes your memory. So, yeah, no, well said. Yeah, so this is basically the beginning of the crown game. It started. Everyone has their different strategies and tactics they're going to use to get to the throne and get to the crown. It's a little different where the throne and the crown are in different places, and the way that you win is by basically having the longest period of time with the crown seated on the throne. But if you're also the last person that's sitting on there, the final winner, when time runs out, I think this is something like you pass like indefinitely or something like that. So yeah. Even if Urek, wait, I think you can't talk about it. If you talk about the hidden floor, your memories are erased. Yes, that's what it is. So if you do talk about it, you'll lose your memories of it. I know there was some caveat there, something you couldn't really do with it, but if I'm like being like 100% transparent, the chapter wasn't bad in any capacity. I just didn't feel there were too many things to sink our teeth into. But we do have some things I want to talk about. I gotta start with a small criticism though that I'm not loving about the spinoff. It's all the fourth wall breaking. The fourth wall breaking is getting a little annoying. I don't think that's really SIU's bag, and I'm very used to a lot of series having fourth wall breaking jokes, but I feel like they spread them out and do them sparingly. And I don't love all the self-referential, references that are happening. Like, tone it down a bit. Talking about anime, manhwa, and stuff like that, and the whole spiel about season 1. And when he met the penguin, it was funny because it talked and I had the same reaction as him. But he's like, even alligators can talk. We get it. We saw Rak. I understand. It's just not that funny to me. Like, it's not funny. It's not cute. It's just like, it breaks immersion. I find it a little distracting. I would like him to tone down a little bit on the fourth wall stuff. Like, it's unnecessary. I found that little talk with him and the Popadal family guy to be completely unneeded. If I'm giving a lot of grace, I think it was to prove two things, or just to show two things. Obviously, but the fact that there's 3 lighthouses, he's using like 3 computer monitors, like a PC gamer type thing, and also that because he's in the Popadal family, he's strictly supposed to be reading literature. He's strictly supposed to be reading, novels and narratives with no pictures. But even some Popadal can enjoy a comic book. Hell, Joe has said that. It's not that crazy, but yeah. If you, I think Fanta's raid already happened, and that's why Rehab and Cheongyum are there. I believe Rehab is a member of RED. Ooh, okay, good stuff, bro. Yep. They mentioned that the Crown game was the original game that the 13 Great Warriors played to decide who's the leader. This just means they played this and Zahard won against everyone, bro. Maybe he became the king this way. I'm not putting too much stock into that statement because I don't know how much Neo really knows. I don't know if Neo was a reliable narrator, or I feel like there could be some broken telephone because we know that V and Zahard were kind of like seen as the best two and the leaders. I'm not saying Zahard didn't win the crown game and had the crown on his head and that's why he started calling himself king or something of the sort. But remember that some people think V was the real leader. So I'm not entirely convinced with what Neo said that this is the way that it happened. Because then it would have happened and been decided so early in their climb. You get what I'm saying? So Urek needs 10 seconds to beat a ranker. His Luminous 1 powers are still not that impressive to fight Family Heads or Zahard. No, I don't. I think he's overestimating himself or saying if he goes all out immediately, he'll win in 10 seconds. But I think he's going to try to win using Shinsu. I don't think he's got a full grasp of how to use it and control it properly yet. And it's going to take him a while to figure it out. And while that's happening, Neo and Terry or Rohan, they're going to be in a very disadvantaged situation. And he's going to appear like right at the end to save them. That's my prediction at least. But now I think about it, irregulars are known for breakfast tower rules. Maybe Urek and Bam can talk about the hidden floor, but they just don't want to risk losing their memories. I wouldn't be surprised if they could be the exception to the rule or the loophole, but I don't think it's gonna. I think they're just following the rules. Season 1 of TOG was very funny. I think SCU was seeing the trend with the fourth wall and self-referential being popular right now and is overdoing it. Yeah, don't try to do something because it's popular. Do what's in your heart and what's in your mind and stuff like that. Don't chase trends. Don't be like gaming companies. They need a live service game. No, you don't. You just need a good effing video game. Point, period, blank. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's a live service, whatever. Zahard, virgin, simp, wouldn't add up what the public knowledge he kills women with one stroke. Urek being a forever simp virgin is pretty funny. Garam, guess what the boss just to piss him off. But the free-for-all crown game is a dope idea. I hope it comes back in the main storyline. I wouldn't hate a revisit of a different version of the crown game, but I'd be more interested in seeing another workshop battle with like a rank to ranker level like characters. The scene with the cola reminded me of Rack complaining about a YouTube short. At least the cola line wasn't in the moment of tension, but it's every chapter at this point. I don't remember that. A YouTube short? Was that recent? I probably didn't register it because I probably wouldn't have liked that either. Like, all right, so is YouTube canon to Tower of God? Like when you do stuff like this, even like I know this might seem really dumb, but even if we're in a series that has its own lore, like in the land of Malaysia, the primordial god cried and then created the ocean, and then when it had a rampage, the earth was made, and that's like whatever, and it's got its own like religion or whatever. If someone goes, "Oh, Jesus Christ," you are insinuating that Christianity exists in that universe from a lore standpoint. I know it seems so stupid, like it's just like a saying that we say, a phrase. But if you're not careful with a very intricately built world, with the world building and certain type of lore, those type of things actually matter. So you have to be careful. Anyways, yeah. I'm not going to get into my literary devices bag right now, but yeah. 1v1 crown game like the 13 Great Warriors did not 3 per team. I think 1v1 free-for-all is really cool and intense. I agree with you. Oh, yeah, I remember something like that about the YouTube shorts. I don't recall. Was that maybe in the official version and not the... By the way, the Vortex scans translation this week were abysmal. They were really bad. They were not good. There was one part where Baskerville was speaking about the test and he repeated himself twice in one bubble. He was like, "Oh, all regulars step up to the arena to start the crown game." And then it was a period, and then the exact same sentence repeated itself. And I was starting to lose it. When Bam and Rack were escaping from the hotel when Tierra turned into a giant fish, Rack told Bam to stop worrying about it and talked about attention spans with YouTube shorts. I remember my reaction. I was annoyed. Oh, snap. It was a dumb scene. Okay, see, if I noticed it, I feel like I would have been like, that. Why did you do that? Okay, fair enough. How strong do you think Urek is right now? I'm talking about his Luminous 1 powers. I think he's probably I wouldn't put him above advanced ranker level yet. I'd put him advanced ranker to lower if he's using his full physical might, not holding back, plus his luminous one abilities. If he's trying to fight as a tower-born inhabitant with Shinsu and not using his luminous one powers, I think he teeters from high upper A rank regular to that middle ranker or ranker level. That's my best guess right now. One of my biggest pet peeves is being on another planet and saying, "What on Earth?" Yes! Like, so do you know about Earth? Have you been to Earth? Like, you can't say that. Yes, I'm with you. I just read the Twitter translation. I read it on Vortex Scans. How they even make their translations, like, bro, Google Translate could probably do better. My best guess is Vortex Scans is trying to be first. And I'm like, try to be accurate. Like, let's say it dropped right now at 1:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday. That's fine. Take your time. Get in tune with the actual lore and diction and jargon. Diction it's the wrong word. The jargon of Tower of God, and stay there. Like, it's so bad. I think Vortex uses machine. They're not actually translators. I think I agree. I think it seems to me like they're using some type of AI or Chat GBT or translation machine. Doesn't seem like human, manual translation. So, yeah. I think what sucks about being a Tower of God fan sometimes is you almost can't get a good translation, because I don't think the officials are particularly good either. So like I've always said, I think when this happens and you really want to get the most accurate version of what's happening, you got to read everything. So you read the Vortex Scans, you read that other one on comic.kc, and you read the official. Then you take the three translations and see where they kind of have commonality and overlap for the parts that were like weirdly worded, and try to make the best of it. I've been doing this for a long time. Like, even as a One Piece fan, I remember I used to read like Manga Stream. Then I might read like Gemini's Box, and then I would read the official when it came out on Viz to get the proper translation. Because there was even one line recently, I'm not going to talk about a spoil, it's not a One Piece video, where something related to lifespan was kind of said, and I took it differently when I read the Viz version. So yeah. Excuse me. What do you think SIU's created the spinoff for? Is this going to serve in the main plot in some way? Is SIU trying to set up Fanta as the final villain after Zahard? I think he's trying to... I obviously don't know. I'm not a part of SIU's team, and I'm not SIU himself. But my best guess is to further the lore of Urek Mazino and Phantom Minim, and connect them to the outside of the tower, not just the tower itself. So, with the primordial darkness and the primordial light, luminous one, and order of the darkness, I think he's creating a better baseline for their conflict. I don't think Phantom Minim is going to be the final villain for like Bam or anyone in the tower. I think it's going to be Urek Mazino's ultimate fight to restore light and the luminous ones, shining ones to the world, or whatever the case may be. So I think he was doing that. But I do think he wanted us to know a bit more about Urek Mazino's climb and ascent. And again, this hasn't happened yet, but I do think he wants to set the seeds for every time we see him in the tower. So the Flower of Zagania, floor 20, the Hidden Floor, the Floor of Death with Hell Joe, and giving him the Red Thressa, floor 77, when he creates Wol Hike Sung alongside Bayak Ryun, and then like the REA Han test. I think he wants to show us that. And I think he's added the elevated importance to Urek Mazino's role to the Tales user story universe, not just Tower of God, by making him a luminous one. So I think that's why he did it. Where was I? Yee's translations are hit or miss, but at least a person is working on it. Vortex translates a bunch of series at the same time. I'm with you. They've had some weeks where it's horrible, but they've been better. The scans that we used to use, was it Vortex? No, it was something else, man. They were so good because they're the ones that had like instead of saying like canine people or canine person, they used Houndborn. And they were one of the few people I saw. I'm like, whoever's translating this or one of the translators of this is an old school Tower of God fan, because you've been using some of Goldie's early translations for some of the terms. Like, I think once, instead of using Shinsu quality, they use Shinsu property conversion, and I'm like, I haven't heard that one since like 2013 or whatever. So that was super dope. Yeah, Vortex scans really want to be the first. They're really shaky. That's why I just follow Mooney on Twitter. She just translated it 1v1 clear. You have to remember, I have to live react to it, so I can't do it that way. I have to, like, get the chapter like this so that I can have it on screen so you guys can see and experience it and read it alongside with me. If I was just reading it on my own, I would read it whenever it came out, wherever. But yeah, I feel you. I wish Flame Scans picked up Urek'S Ascent. I read their translations for a few other series and there are hardly any issues. I feel it. And I compare her translation to Vortex, and Vortex is really messy. I think the Urek'S spinoff is used to expand the world building. I think that the world building and lore is also a good answer. Do you think Zahar is Luminous One, or at least related to them? I actually don't. I don't think any of the 13 Great Warriors are. Maybe I'll make a video about this and make it specific. I think the 13 Great Warriors are just irregulars. And I don't want to downplay that, but they're not. They're Tower of God characters. Like, they came into the tower as irregulars. They're Neo in the Matrix, broke the rules, had so much potential within it, and then you had the 11 family heads because V and Arlene didn't make it. Enryu, Phantom Minim, Bam, Urek Mazino, and I'm going to add Rachel with the asterisk, I think are the irregulars that are like connected to something a little deeper and grander. I think Bam could be the second version of Phantom Minim's Darkness and Order, whatever, relates to the Great Warriors Arlene, but I still think Bam's ultimate goal is to conquer the tower, save the tower, fix the tower, devour the tower, become an Axis because of the tower, if Axis still exists as a concept. And that's his thing. I think Fanta and Urek, they're going to have their fight outside the tower, Luminous One versus the Order of Darkness, and then maybe restore light to the outside world or whatever the case may be. Enryu, the jury's out. I'm not sure what to do with him yet, but I think Zahar is just like the most powerful, unless you think V is stronger, irregular to come in the tower that's not like some special ultra different being. Rachel, I'm putting an asterisk on because I feel like she just has a lot of, because she's a very weak irregular, and I think she's existed in and outside the tower. So yeah, he does have a lot of golden light around him, and Dada Zahar said to Dada Edouan that he is born with the king seed. So yeah. I don't think he's a Luminous One. I think it's just Mazino is. I think Mazino was the last Luminous One. There was a reason he was there like that, folded like this. And I think if he was a Luminous One, I would have, my best guess, if Phantom Minim still cared about turning them into VVs. Can't you see all these clears in my ears? Only VVs. White glove service with the brick. I am Luigi. Sorry. Clips are back, yo. I'm so hyped. Pusha T, No Malice. Yo, No Malice has a lost a step. Rap shit. But, what was I saying? I totally forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I don't think Zahar is one, though, ultimately. Alpha Scans. Thank you. It was Alpha Scans. They were super, super dope. Yeah, Alpha Scans. Where was I earlier? Sorry, y'all. Flame Scans, Messy, Seed, or something. Bro was born with premium sperm. Don't kill me. That Bam main storyline can't give time. Yeah. I think, given the popularity of Urek'S Ascent, I think SIU is trying to get new fans and bring back old ones for season 4. I think SIU wanted to write something else because he's been writing Tower God for 15 years. I think actually you presented a really good real world reason for why he's doing this. Hyping up fans for season 4 and bringing in some new ones that maybe start with the Urek Mazino and like, oh wait, this is a spin-off, and go into the main one. That makes sense to me. I like that. But bro, Urek'S in the tower. If he's to beat Fanta, then he has to get out the tower. Are you saying there's gonna be a sequel to TOG, Urek and Fanta? No, not necessarily. You have to remember also, Muhammad. Initially, he wanted to make multiple stories in the Tales user story universe, and Tower of God was just gonna be one of those narratives. So maybe there's gonna be Hole of the Devil where we have to go down. I'm being silly, but you get what I mean. It could just be a chapter, a small spin-off or side story he does after the fact, or a blog post entry or something. I'm not entirely sure, but you have to remember, Mazino wants to leave the tower. That's his overall goal right now. He doesn't want to stay in here. So I think he will leave the tower, find out how Arlene did it eventually, and then have that battle with Phantom Minim outside the tower. Sorry, I hope Garam gets with the boss, but no, you're right. People using God or Jesus in an entirely different universe is stupid. Yes. The Kun Bam fans did them dirty. I remember they were mad on Twitter for that Shilial line, something about Bam being gay or something. Was it that Enoch, that whole Enoch, like something like the, I vaguely remember that. CBL. Oh no, where was I? It's crazy that the officials still don't have the Urek spinoff. It's cooked, yeah. And Dorsey, Yuri, Kun, Rak, Ryu, and Rachel are disqualified from being the heroine love interest, and is probably the one daughter of two family heads, Strong, who has colorless December. I've said that before. It's probably a Dory or N. The officials are out in Indonesia, but not for English, French, Spanish, etc. What the F is Web2 doing? They're pissing down their leg. Why are there some people who believe Bam isn't Arlene and V's kid? They believe he's some creation of the outside possessing their dead child's body, because Bam died in the tower and was resurrected. So they think that he was resurrected with the primordial darkness. Some people think Zahard is actually the real father too. It's not V. I don't think that's the case, but just people have their theories. Everyone has their own opinion, you know? That's just how the world is. What did things say? An opinion is like a... See, I don't want to even say that, because like there's people who have disabilities that may not have it, but everyone has an opinion. It's not a special. Regular, irregulars, 13 Great Warriors, Frankenstein irregular, Bam, Darkness irregular, Phantom Minim, Luminous irregular, Urek Mazino, and the illegal irregular Rachel. I love how you said that. Then I would add unknown Enryu, because how did Enryu be able to use 9,000 bangs immediately? Because they say he just appeared one day suddenly, and I don't think Hadon would have not known he came into the tower. So how could your Shinshu control be that crazy immediately? There's something more to Enryu. We need to find that out. So yeah. How much did you miss? Oh, we just been talking about the chapter for about maybe like 26 minutes. Nothing crazy. Just kind of going through some of the main talking points, and I'm just answering chat. Is the new Urek manhwa an enjoyable read? I haven't started it, but I want to. I'll give you my very, very honest opinion and analysis. Urek Mazino is my favorite irregular in the tower. I have a much more personal, emotional, vested interest in this as a result of that, because he's one of my 10 favorite characters. So I'm emotionally and personally invested. I do think the first like 8 chapters have been really solid, especially those first six that started. There's been a few things that have annoyed me, but I think it's been a really good read. 11 chapters in, I'm probably somewhere around an 8 overall for the Urek Mazino spinoff so far. I just think there's way too many fourth wall breaking jokes, and this is not SIU's fault in any capacity, but some of the translations have been horrendous, and I'm having to have to think around the translations. And I'm like, did you guys just have Baskerville really repeat himself twice in one thought bubble? He said the same thing twice. I'm like, so, but it's been really, I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Cataclysm, go find out for yourself, bucko. I'm just reading the chat. Speaking of Fanta turning Urek into Jewel, someone on Reddit said that Fanta would turn Urek into his ring. I'll laugh at the rest of it. That's freaky as hell. That's freaky. You're a freaky frog. That's funny though. Oh, and Enryu, the messenger of God irregular. That's even better than what I said. The unknown one. I like that. Boom. Now we got it. I might have to screenshot that. I like that. That's tough. Then the messenger of God irregular. Boom. Yeah. But yeah, I would say start with the first 4 and see how you feel. I think it's really interesting because it's a return to basics, but we have so much foreknowledge of things that happen later, and because we're returning to test too, and I don't really care what anyone else thinks. I'm never gonna drop this opinion. One of the main building blocks that made Tower of God so special were the games and the tests, and the removal of them and the lack of them and the lack of focus on them, to me, is more of a deterrent than a positive. I really like that flip it or turn it game that they played, and some of the other tests, and the version of the crown game that we're getting. It looks like it's really fun. Messenger of God, Phantom Minute wants to reconcile to him. How naughty. Yeah, that one. And then suddenly all started saying we don't need fan translations, and they support it via webtoon. Yep, Roger, Killmonger, Bucko. Thanks, Nucia. But yeah, I think you'll have a good time, especially if you like Mazino and tests. I still believe Bam is a hybrid between Luminous because of the sun in him, and Fanta for devouring the darkness. So you think Bam is like the perfect balance of primordial light and darkness, like he's luminous and darkness, and maybe that's the key to moving forward, finding a balance between the two. Kingdom Hearts-esque, like, again, where darkness and light live in symbiosis. You can't have light without the darkness. Light will cast a shadow. I like that. I'm not mad at that. I feel like the focus on his dark Shinsu that devours and consumes and eats has had a lot more focus than the sun, which is why I'm leaning to that. But that's interesting. Yeah, Enryu is the most mysterious irregular right now. We know more about Phantom Minute before him. Would never guess it. I actually agree with that. What if the Thorn is a power that's like Urek, like a luminous, like a outside power, not luminous? So you're saying that as the messenger of God, Enryu brought some different type of power system with the Thorn, and that's what Bam has, which is why even on the floor of death, when Hell Joe, as the administrator, if you will, took away the power of Shinsu, or the ability to use Shinsu, Bam could still use it, and it could slit the throat of the king. A regular outside the tower, something from outside the tower which has no relation to the contract of immortality inside the tower can slit the throat of the king. That makes sense to me, actually. That makes sense to me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it makes sense. Tower Climber made a theory that Enryu was someone who came before the great warriors went beyond the 134th floor or something. It would explain his insane Shinsu control. I like that idea. I think you may have mentioned that once. I gotta go watch some of Tower Climber stuff and whatever. I know there's a French speaking Tower God creator too that you guys been wanting me to get in contact with, and because I'm bilingual, it'd be easy for me to speak with him. I don't know how I'd do it. Like, I guess maybe I'd have to play translator. I don't know how good his English is. I haven't really watched. I think there's a video I have to watch. I think his name is Ken Explained or something. But I do want to get the people who are reading the Urek Mazino spinoff, like the unofficial Tower God like content creators, and have a little discussion about it. So I'll see what I can do. But thanks for letting me know. My Enryu theory is that there are multiple towers, and Enryu climbed to the top with a different tower. So you think the one we're currently in is not the only one? Expound upon that if you have any more, or tell me on Patreon. I feel like Luminous has a similar genetic aesthetic into Urek, red eyes, gray, whitish hair, like the races from Wakfu. Okay, I'm a Wakfu fan. Shout out to Wakfu. I'm never mad at a Wakfu drop. Shout out to the French. Naya Hammocks, thanks so much for the in-depth response. If it's a good read, I really appreciate your willingness to get into the nitty-gritty from multiple perspectives. Yeah, I also want to be honest that, like, I'm being subjective in a lot of ways because I really like Urek Mazino as a character. I know some people like the objective, unbiased, impartial analysis, but I'm not always like that, and I do think a lot of people overestimate their ability to be objective, but that's just my thoughts and opinions on that. Phantom Minute betrayed the darkness, so the darkness created the tower to create and train the chosen one to beat Phanta in the future. Bam chosen by the darkness along with Urek chosen by the light. Okay. You know, if Bam is darkness, SU has a retroactive explanation for Bam being able to scratch Urek. He didn't plan for this, but he could use this, LOL. Oh, because it's like naturally his weakness. And even when he came in the tower, he said something about his powers were gradually returning. I hate that made sense to me, but you're totally right. He could be like, you see, I don't like that. But you're right. You're actually totally right about that. Bam was always about darkness, not light. Light was Urek'S theme. They give me Sasuke and Naruto vibes. There's a possibility. That's a possibility. I agree about the games. I think they should be safe for floor tests, not for when a big war is happening. Imagine during the fourth Great Ninja War, Madara said they do tuning exams 2.0. I feel that. Yes, hit the like button. Wait, what? Oh wait. Okay, so I was messing something up. What will when Kiko Can is the French YouTuber. Thank you. Yeah, Wo Can is a nice TOG content creator. Do you think the boss and Revolution knows how to get out of the tower and will tell Urek so he can stop stalking them? I like the idea of them figuring out the tower, how to escape the tower to get Mazino out the paint so there's one less irregular to kind of deal with. I like that idea. I think he needs to find how Arlene did it though. I think that's his pathway out there. Bonjour, mes amis. Yes, I haven't played Claire Obscure Expedition 33 yet. I am very excited to play it. I'm waiting for a sale, even though I still think $50 for a game like that looks incredible and whatnot. But I think I'm going to end up playing that towards the latter half of the year. I still need to do my replay of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition or whatever on my Switch. My Switch is at my girl's house, so I haven't touched it in months. The Switch 2 comes out in a few days, so I'll be playing Mario Kart World 2 at my boy's house. Mario Kart World, whatever. I just bought 3 games yesterday: Grand Snowboarding Adventure, Steep, and Tricky Madness. A spiritual successor to SSX Tricky, and that's the SSX games. I still have a few in my backlog to get through. I want to get some better scores on Pizza Tower if I can, and do some more stuff in Gravity Circuit. I just replayed Sea of Stars and did the Sea of Stars Throes of the Watchmaker DLC. That was a blast. Chained Echoes is getting DLC, so I want to actually replay Chained Echoes and do the Continent of Something DLC for that. But Claire has my attention. I don't think I'm going to end up completing my 1,000 Year Door playthrough. I think them dropping it to 30 FPS has made the gameplay feel really, really stiff and stifling and not as responsive. Anyways, sorry, you know me, I'm a gamer. You guys know I like video games. SIU did want to make other stories aside from TOG, but it seems like he went back on this along with the Axis stuff. He might want to wrap the plot of TOG up with Fanta and the main villain in the series. I think no matter what, I don't see if I cannot. I'm not Mohammed. If you're right, I'll make a video specifically to you, giving you praise for this. I do not think Phantom Minim in any capacity is going to be the last villain in Tower of God. You're right though. With some of the things that have happened and some of the changes, it's totally possible. With the maybe accesses don't exist or whatever, and he has to repurpose these characters and make Phantom more of a TOG character. I'm not disagreeing with that. I still think there could be something beyond the 134th floor, whether it's a hostile administrator or some other being that's actually a final villain. But I am dead set on the last bad guy or antagonist villain being Hadon. That's just my headcanon. That's just my belief. I am not by any capacity saying that I'm right. I feel like Urek and Phantom Minim would have a battle. You know what I don't think would be crazy? If Hadon's the final boss and Bam has to beat him to conquer the tower, and while that's happening, Mazino fights Phantom Minim. That could work too. But I don't think so. That's just me though. I'm not saying I'm right. Janisha doing the big brain. Always thinking ahead. Always. Most people outside of US speak English because of the internet. I doubt he can't talk it. It's super rare in my country to not know English. I am Bulgarian, by the way. That's awesome. I'm Canadian, so our national languages are French and English. So I've been in French immersion. J'étais en immersion il y a comme quoi 12 ou 13 années, quelque chose comme ça, mais je pratique pas mon français souvent. Alors, j'oublie beaucoup de mots, phrase très simple, mais c'est pas un problème pour moi. But yeah, like I'm bilingual. I can Mickey my way through Spanish. Like if I'm reading it and hearing it, I can Mickey my way through it. But and I have Mickey my way through some Spanish conversations, but I'm not a Spanish speaker. Give me 1 second. 1 second. That was the wifey. Nice point. Maybe Enryu has outside powers, and that's why he's so good at shit from the beginning. That wouldn't shock me. I took French for 3 years, but I haven't used it in over 5 years. I do think if you don't practice your not first language for a while, you get very rusty. I've had a lot of recent experiences in the last, I would say, 6 years that brought my French back up to par because I had gotten really rusty at one point. Where was I at? Where was I at? How long do you think the side story will be? Last few chapters was kind of dragged out to me with with a lot not interesting character and too many characters in general to track to be interested. Hope soon we will see a time skip. I at this point I don't know because I'm with you. I'm shocked that we slowed the pacing down this much. It's not like a bad thing. I'm not mad or anything, but I'm with you. I think this can easily be up to like 36 chapters, honestly. This is the Tower of God, and Enryu is the messenger of God. It would make sense that he's the best at using Shinsu, who can use Shinsu, God's water in the tower, better than his messenger. It makes sense. When we get lore on why Zahard sealed the 135th floor, we will get the answer on Enryu. Yep. Wen hasn't started Urek's Ascent to my knowledge unless he hasn't updated his reaction to his VOD channel yet. Okay, fair enough. Will you play Will you play Claire Obscura Expedition 33 on stream? Y'all want to see me suffer? I don't mind. All right, I got you. Fine. I might do a offline and online play, make two files if they have multiple save file things, but okay, I got you. Because I did think of doing my Sea of Stars playthrough on it, but I'm like, some of these puzzles I'm not gonna remember. I'm gonna get stuck, and I don't feel like redoing them, so I'm gonna look it up. So okay, all right. It'll be later in the year though, or at least if a sale comes very soon. I'm trying to buy it for like $30, $35 if I can. Imagine when Bam reached the floor where Arihan resides and he just beats him in his game like Urek did. That would be so hilarious and a nasty mark to his name in the tower. I think that could happen though. What if the great families became the most powerful because when irregulars die, their life is converted to nuclear levels of Shinsu in the tower, allowing other irregulars to access more of it? Well, my biggest reason for why they've always been broken is because the rules of the towers don't apply to them. They don't have to ask an administrator to use Shinsu, and they have so much more natural latent talent potential and just power packed into them as they come in here. I don't know how powerful they are from every place they originate from. They could be normal, above average, spectacular, but I've always felt like they're like Neo in the Matrix to some degree, and the rules don't apply to them. I could be a fusion of Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, but if the rules don't apply to you, by which I mean you can just pick the effing ball up and run and throw it in the net. No matter how good I am, I'm at a substantial disadvantage. So that's kind of how I've seen irregulars more often than not. I'm still wondering who that god of TOG is. Yep. Have you started Omniscient Reader of All? Yes, I've read Omniscient Reader Viewpoint many times. I say many times. I've tried it many times. I think I got to like 30 something in it, and I've even reacted on stream to it. Or that the levels of Shinsu in the tower was growing due to the immortality contract of the Cramley heads. I'm not convinced all irregulars would be so strong at the beginning. Could be Jared's power grab. I do think they come in at varying levels of strengths, but their ceiling is just higher than even the most gifted in-tower habitant. But I'm with you, because Bam, even with just Bam and Urek, the discrepancy of their power levels on Hadon's floor to the second floor of Test of Regulars is pretty night and day. I feel like the hostile administrator is a hard propaganda. Maxeth, Hadon, and Ryu outside God are more likely to be the final antagonists for TOG than Fanta. My wildest headcanon is that Zahar is still the final villain, but is a hollow one and possessed by an administrator, which is the same administrator locked above locked the floor above. I kind of like that idea. Actually, no, I don't. Enough possession, actually. Where was I at? I'm way well behind. How cool would it be if the first character we meet in the tower is also the last villain? The twist I never missed for me. I'm with it. And Hadon want to bring changes by bringing Bam. It's possible. See that smile? We know it was the wifey message, man. The Hadon always an admin though. It's not like we believed he's a bad guy or a good guy. He just does what's best for the tower. Why would he be a villain? He could just be an antagonist. He could just well, again, I don't think that he's a good guy. That's just my opinion. I think he completely orchestrated and masterminded the death of Traumare by doing what he did with Enkidu. That's just my opinion. Florida doesn't have a French-speaking population to practice French, but I got to game with guys who lived in Quebec. Shout out to the Quebecois. Shout out to Quebec, man. I know a lot of good people out there. Do you think irregulars are strong because they are irregulars, or because they are irregulars because they are strong? Would explain why Rachel is kind of irregular, but not really. You need to be special. Just being born outside doesn't cut it. Same with the Eon Cougar, which his whole role is to be a birth machine. Rachel and her are not true irregulars, but came in with them in the tower. So you're saying if I went in the tower as a regular human, I wouldn't be as broken. I'd be like Rachel. I think we need to learn specifically why Rachel is so weak for us to know that, because the common theme is if you're an irregular, you're not born in the tower and you come in, you're broken. So I'm going to go with our conventional wisdom for now until proven otherwise, but I think that's interesting food for thought. I think the irregulars are so powerful because the outside world literally puts them at a higher level of existence compared to the people in the tower. But it's not always the case. Rachel, bro, did SIU name a character Sancho? He makes the most random soccer player references. I actually asked if you think it's about Jadon Sancho. What? Where is Jadon Sancho playing right now? Is he still on Manchester but on loan to Borussia Dortmund? I didn't even check. Hi, baby. I see you. Hi. I like how SIU still introduced new Zahar princess like it's a big thing and rare event, but it's getting kind of out of hand how many different Zahar princesses we have now and should follow. Is that bothering you for real? I'm okay with the amount of Zahar princesses that we have, to be honest. That's just me, though. A message was retracted. Hi, Henry seems to like Arlene. What if they banged in the outside with V watching from his cock chair inside of Pam's body? You guys are so silly. When am I gonna get back to Ordeal? I don't know that I plan to, but shout out to my Trini brother out there, putting in God's work, putting in good work, elite hands, showing out for the West Indians and whatnot. I'm not against it. Ordeal's not something I really think about like that. MJ thought he'd be an irregular in baseball. Nice. Can't wait for the only speaking French Claire obscure stream. Joking. I only know Espanol. I do think that I'll have a better. I've seen some like interviews and stuff, like you have to go midge. I'm like gomage, I cringe when people mispronounce French words, but that's just because I know how they're supposed to sound. But yes, I think because I have the knowledge of this is just like what happened in like a certain arc in a certain series where people saw FIN and they're like, what does Finn mean? And these guys in BDA were having a real conversation about what it could mean. And I'm like, la fin means the end. And I completely destroyed that conversation. Yo, who here remembers that? I was so mad. I'm like, there's no way this is happening. Get your languages up. Imagine speaking one language. Could never be me. I always thought that the final villain of the tower would relate to the purpose of the tower itself. This tower was built for something. The question is what? And for all you know, Hadon is a part of that. I'm intrigued. How did the workshop and 13 Great Warriors even got contact or know each other? I wouldn't be surprised if 13 Warriors came from a lab in a workshop, but I'm hesitant on this one. I think they all came. I actually think they came from different places. I want someone like Garo to appear in Tower of God, who's a genius fire and trained so much that he can break his limits, but by Tower on him and kicks irregular ass. I think that would have been a cool concept. I don't see it happening though. I don't think this is the series to expect that because it's more of a power is given, not earned. And what Lee Roro said about luck at the very beginning is true. Rachel isn't a regular irregular. Rachel didn't open the door. She just got it because of Bam. I think Rachel is the most interesting irregular. She didn't open the door, but I think she exists outside of fate, unlike Bam. My big Rachel theory is that her soul is the original baby. I think you were the first person to tell me that. I remember that. Sancho was loaned to Chelsea, but they're paying a fee instead of keeping him, so he's technically still plays for United. Thank you. It's been a while. I don't watch it like that. Bam was so broken. I'm still mad at Inter what they did. They ruined the UCL final, but shout out to PSG. Winning as soon as Mbappe left is hilarious to me. Bam was so broken that he not only entered the tower but also bring his maid with him. He brought his maid with him. Imagine we get a character like named Messi Ronaldo as a second to third court commander like Caliban. If your name is Ronaldo or Messi in Tower of God, you better go crazy. He's on loan to Chelsea, but option to buy, but Chelsea not paying. Yeah, he go back to United. Fair enough. I think Hadon just wants to get rid of Zahar and have people climb the tower again. It hit me during the first chapter of the spinoff when Hadon talks about the top of the tower. He means the legit top. Most OP fans think Teach is a villain before Luffy reaches Laugh Tale and gets the OP. The real villain is I don't think so. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that right now just because baby, if you're still in here, don't read the chat because there's a One Piece spoiler. My girl is still catching up to One Piece. She's on Fishman Island, so I don't want to talk about that here. Not all the 13 came from different places. Ari, Ha, and Ha are brothers. Okay, most of them. They say they're cousins in the old lore, just distant relatives. Yeah, I'm one of those people that think a lot of the irregulars come from different places, different timelines, different worlds, and whatnot, and everything. I thought maybe at first they all came from the same area, but not anymore. I no longer believe that. But is there anything else? Oh, I want to talk about what you said to me, which I didn't catch, which I thought was a brilliant theory, most brilliant. Oh, whoa, bull. When I first read this portion, this was cool, by the way, the trap. When she's asking for help, I just kind of thought the placement here was just like we're just transitioning to something else. I don't know how I didn't make this connection, but what you said, Zunicia, was crazy. You said you won't read. Thank you. I do think you're right. I think what you said, please help me. She was able to control the queen, dolphin, net, whatever, and that's going to come and fight the bull and save her. I think the little Pomeranian puppy that she used, she can't control it because she has too much power. She needs a creature, animal, or whatever that has enough power itself to handle how much, like, I don't know, I could control and tame you that she's like putting into them, which is why the dogs go berserk. But I think that the queen is strong enough to handle it. So I think I think that she's gonna control it. If Bam could absorb powers, maybe he could also do reverse and put powers inside his friends, making them break their limits. That would be another way for him to break rules. Yeah, I don't see that as a non-possibility. I would argue we've seen a version of this. Not that Bam did it himself, but with the defeat of White's power got split into three. Part of it went to Aguero, part of it went to Rack, part of it, the crown part, went to Bam. So yeah. But again, cool chapter. Still kind of waiting for more things to pop off. I am interested in Neo. We'll see how quickly or how well Mazino does against a ranker. I don't foresee him using his luminous powers against him. I think he will use it against Rahab if Rahab actually is somehow a follower of Fanta, or Mazino continues to think that Rahab's dark the Shinsu is related to the primordial darkness. You're officially blind. Okay. If Bam could absorb powers, maybe he can also. Oh, yeah, I read that already. But okay, I'm giving the chapter a 7 this week. Not, I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it. It was, I didn't like. I think it was bad or nothing. But I don't think I can go beyond a 7.5. But I couldn't go lower than a 7. What would you guys give this chapter? A ranking out of for the week, and make sure you guys are liking the video. Like that video for me. I'm a 7 out of 10. The second thing I need is what was everyone's favorite panel this week. I think I ended up deciding to go with the Penguin. Oh, I guess I want to mention this real quick before I get into that. This seems unnecessary to me. I guess they're trying to build the fact that girls don't really like Mazino like that. But this part, we're like, I like guys who work out running away, like her still playing the game, and this incel behind him being like, oh, how dare you get the drink? Bro, get this away from me. That is not important. I do not want to see how that plays out. I'm not interested. You never know, obviously, but yeah. Now, where's the Penguin? Penguin went hard. Penguin went crazy. This might be the gold panel of the week. Penguin went stupid dumb. Huh? And he's wearing a squid backpack. That's hard. Who are you? I need to see my boy. I need to see my boy, one of the printies from Disgaea. I need to see you in Well Hike Sung, my boy. I need to see you over there. I need to. Don't forget, Blue Flames are said to empower all its comrades also. That's also a good point, yes. Because he shared it. 7 out of 10. Penguin, my favorite panel. Evelyn's help me is my favorite line. Yes, and for my favorite piece of dialogue, with the added context that I think she's summoning the Queen Dolphin Net, whatever it's called. Sorry, I keep changing the order of that. Dolphin Net Queen. I think with the added context, the help me line does hit harder. But it was the kind of comedic line with Neo planning out how they can win the crown game that I think I ended up going with. But good stuff, man. I think the Pobedao trapping Evelyn was cool. I think with the Pobedao guy trapping a Lopobia, it was a cool way to somewhat continue the theme of the Pobedao and Lopobia family fighting Tromre versus Gustang that we recently had in the series. And we just got to see what we have next to come as we continue to ascend the tower with who I believe is the best irregular. And then when SIU finishes this spinoff, what we all know is going to happen is we're going to get the Mule Love side story, the legend of Mule Love and how he became the greatest character in Tower God history. And we're going to start with when he was a baby all the way until he beats Bam on the top of the tower, and then Spartan kicks Bam off the tower, becomes an Axis, then goes to the Tales User Story universe, Blue Ore surfs through the cosmos, and starts going crazy, while he has some nice, spicy and seasoned chicken. Chicken Love Club will never die. And that's exactly what every single person wants to happen 100%. That's exactly what we want to see. Say, baby. Yes, my love. Okay. 7 out of 10. Penguin. At SIU's place, I wouldn't give Bam friends any extra strength at all. I would just divide them up. I'm right there with you. I strongly believe Heidan will work with Max S, Fracture, 13 Great Warriors, more by using Enkidu to cause Amizu's death, indeed. I think he's playing a really, really long game, too. I definitely think that Zahard isn't the real villain. Yeon said during her talk with Amizu that they didn't have a choice, and Luce like said to Han that they chose that. A third side definitely gave them some sort of ultimatum, and V and Arlene disagree with the rest. 6 out of 10 as a TOG fan. I hold SU to a high standard and usually against you when you have it low, but a 6 out of 10 wasn't much I cared about. I think that's a fair score, honestly. I think anywhere from a 6 to a 7.5 is like, 6 to a 7.5 is fair. Do you think Urek'S Luminous 1 power will get stronger since he got better in Shinsu right now? Yes, I do. which explained why Enkidu brought up V. Bebe, I have to start my next client soon. Okay, I'm going to call you in a second. That third side story, be it Fanta or the 135th administrator, is definitely the final villain, at least for TOG. I want to see Mule Love going after the guy who killed his parents. Augustus promised him. He did. He did. I'll tell you about the new clients later because I don't think you'll have time for a call. I will, because the stream is over. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, stay tuned for obviously the videos coming out next week. This week. Just I gotta do better with this. So let me just do this. Join the Patreon. Come through. You get early access and exclusive content. Tower of God, Kubera, plus some live reactions that I couldn't put anywhere else but here, to various Chinese animation, Donghua anime like Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War, things of that nature. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot. At least if you're curious, come join the Certified BAM Lovers, the CBL group, $3 CAD, and our dollar's garbage. So as long as you're better than the Canadian dollar, you're not paying as much. And then you're gonna want to join, subscribe to the Young Paperwork channel, where I'm over here cooking real content. About to drop the Is Bleach the Middle Child of the Big Three video here. Talk about everything from video games to manga to comics to just my interest in writing and literature and things like that. A lot of good content here, so go ahead and join that. And we'll be back next week with Mazino's Climb, man. We're gonna be back with that. I'm having fun. I do think that we've slowed down a little bit in terms of the pacing, and I thought that we'd be doing a bit more montaging and getting to some of the things I mentioned earlier. But I'm having a fun time. I can't complain. All right, you guys be safe. Have yourself a mighty fine day. Signing out.